In this tutorial, what I'm going to show you is how to work with a character and animate a character. So we're going to start with this template, Chloe. So just double click that. It should open up in Character Animator and also in Photoshop. Now that we're in Photoshop, we're going to make a copy of this puppet. So that way we don't mess up the original. So right now its name is Chloe. So if you double click that name, you're looking for the layers panel. In the very top folder, you're going to change to your name. Make sure to keep the plus. That you gotta have that. And then you're going to do File Save As. And it's important that you keep track of where you save everything. You want to put this inside of your folder on the desktop, and you're going to give it a new name. And make sure it has .psd at the end and click Save. Once that's saved, we can go over to Character Animator. And notice how in our project panel it still says Chloe and the Chloe scene. So first thing we're going to do is import our new puppet. So File, Import. And you're going to go to where you saved it. And now we're going to create a new scene by clicking the clapboard icon. And there you go. So if we want to, we can just get rid of Chloe, and that way we make sure that we're working with all the custom stuff. Alright, so let's look at this puppet a little bit. We're going to, you can see how it moves, okay, kind of cool. We can animate this using the rig. So if you go ahead and click on the rig button up top, this shows you all the different layer panels. So this matches up to those Photoshop layers. Notice how there's some crowns here. The crowns mean that they're independent. So the right eyebrow is independent of the left eyebrow, meaning they move separately. Your character is split up into two main sections, the head and the body. And notice how those do not have crowns. So that means that they are dependent, and they're dependent on their parent, so which is the body. So this keeps the head and the body connected. They move together. All right. If we were to make that independent, we can go back over to record, and we'll see what that does. You can see how the head is now disconnected from the body. All right, so that's what those crowns mean. Again, just like in some of our other programs we've looked at, the eyeballs will kind of like hide things if you need to do that. Let's go back over to the record, and the next thing I want to show you is look at its feet. How the feet just kind of wobble around. We don't want that. So we're going to go into our rig view, and we're going to select our body. All right, so the legs are part of this body. You can do Command plus to zoom in, and I'm going to hold the space bar to get my little hand grabber and just kind of position it so that way I can see those feet. And down at the bottom we see some tools down here. We're looking for this pin tool, and what this will do is it'll pin whatever you attach this to in place. So I'm going to create a pin there and a pin there, so it fixes them in place. We can go back over to record, see what that does, and now notice the feet have a fixed position. So you can apply those pins anywhere that you want. Okay, so let's say we want to give movement, so the opposite. We might want to make this character's arms move, and what we can do is allow the user to move it. So if they use the arrow key, they can, or the arrow, they can click and drag and hold it. If it's a touchscreen device, they can touch it and move it. So what we'll do, we'll go to Rig, and let's do the right arm. And you can see that I'm going to switch to my selection tool, which is the arrow down here. You can see this green dotted line, right? That's this circle up here is the origin point. So this is where it's going to like bend. We want to move this to the shoulder. And whenever you see it's green highlighted, that means like this is an acceptable place to put it. It's where like two graphics overlap. So we're going to drop it there. And now we need to switch tools to our dragger tool. And I'm going to click on that and then click on his hand here. And now if we go back over to record, and you can move it around. Now notice how it doesn't fall down. We need to go to our dragger over here in the properties on the right. And by default, it has hold in place after move. We're going to click on that drop down, return to rest, and now when we try to move it, it'll fall back down. All right, notice how that's really fast, so we want to maybe increase that duration, and so that way it falls more naturally. Pretty cool. So that's what Dragger does. While we're over here, take a look at the transform panel. We can reposition the character. You can scale the character. So some other things that you'll eventually get into. All right, so the next thing that I want to point out and discuss is notice how the arm, it looks really kind of floppy and very 2D. We're going to try and fix that. So let's go over to Rig, and with this still selected, we're going to use something called the stick tool. And what this is going to do is kind of create a bone structure. So you click and drag, and that's the little icon we get. I'm going to make two lines here with a little space for the elbow to be in there. So wherever you put those lines, it won't be like floppy. So now when we go back to record, and we animate our character, there we go. Much better. Okay, let's see if you can do the other arm on your own. Okay, now that you have both hands animated, we're going to do a quick recording of our character. So I'm going to change the dragger here back to hold in place. This will just kind of give us more control. I'm going to put the hands on the hip like that. And so now we're going to record, and we're going to record our character just doing a simple wave, and that'll be it. So to begin a recording, we want to click on this set rest pose, and it's going to, you can look in your little camera up here, it's going to basically just calibrate is what that does. And now we can begin recording. And notice how in our layer panel down here there's a red dot. That means this character is going to get recorded. We can click the record button, and there it goes. I'm going to come up, drag my arm, do a wave, and put it back. And now I'll stop. And now down in our timeline, we see all the different animations. You can press spacebar to start that. Spacebar to stop. So that's how we do a very simple animation. So try that out and have some fun with it.